Welcome to Slumbering Myths. Before we begin our journey, I need you to do something for me. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of your eyelids. Let them go heavy. Let your muscles relax. Breathe in slowly and breathe out all tension. You are safe here. You are prepared to let your mind drift. Let the universe do the rest. Now, imagine you are floating. Look up at the cosmic night. It feels peaceful, doesn't it? It is a profound, timeless stillness. But this quiet is a magnificent illusion. In this very moment, Earth is not just orbiting the Sun. The entire solar system and our massive Milky Way galaxy are hurtling through space at a terrifying speed. 600 kilometers every single second. We are part of a grand cosmic migration. But in physics, no movement happens without a force. Gravity is the ultimate ruler of this universe. So the question is, what has enough power to drag an entire galaxy through the dark? To find the answer, astronomers looked ahead, scanning the cosmic horizon to see where we were going. But nature always knows how to keep its secrets. Right in the exact direction we are rushing toward lies the densest core of the Milky Way itself. Billions of blinding stars, swirling clouds of gas and stardust, form a massive wall of light and matter. It completely blocks everything hiding behind it. Scientists call this mysterious shadow the zone of avoidance, a colossal blind spot. We are plunging through the dark, heading straight towards something massive and invisible, unable to see it with our own eyes. But eventually, with the birth of X-ray and infrared technology, humanity finally pierced through that murky wall of dust. And what waited for us on the other side was greater and more awe-inspiring than anyone could have guessed. A massive phantom of gravity named the Great Attractor.
Piercing through the dense dust of the zone of avoidance, what emerges is not a single object, but a colossal distortion of space. Located about 200 million light-years away, the Great Attractor is an anomaly of concentrated gravity. Do not let the name unsettle you. It is not a violent black hole devouring everything in its path. It is more like a deep, tranquil valley where all rivers of light peacefully flow. Its mass is so magnificent, it is hard for the human mind to comprehend. It equals tens of thousands of galaxies combined. Its gentle, irresistible pull is slowly dragging our Milky Way, along with hundreds of thousands of neighboring galaxies, sliding through the night. We are moving together in a magnificent river of stars, the greatest migration humanity has ever known. But linger here for a moment. Do not look away from the dark just yet. Because when we look past the Great Attractor, reaching even further out, to a distance of 650 million light-years, we finally meet the true phantom of our local universe. It is the Shapley supercluster. If the Great Attractor is just a valley, then Shapley is a massive continent of gravity. It is the densest, heaviest structure in our known cosmic neighborhood. It is so vast that its immense weight bends both space and silent time. This ultimate gravity creates a tether across hundreds of millions of light years, grabbing the Great Attractor, embracing our Milky Way, and allowing nothing to slip from its path. Shapley is the true anchor, a quiet king, sitting on a brilliant throne, patiently calling us all back home. Close your eyes and imagine you are falling, a soft, slow, and endless fall into the center of that kingdom of light. Everything is obediently drifting away. As we gaze toward the brilliant throne of Shapley, our minds are easily overwhelmed by the light of densely packed galactic kingdoms. But if you pull your eyes away from those monumental glowing hubs and look down into the vast, pitch-black expanse lying between our Milky Way and those giants, you will realize a much quieter truth. That intergalactic space, that endless dark ocean, is not entirely empty. Drifting sparsely in that eternal night are the quietest and most solitary travelers of the cosmos, rogue stars. Billions of years ago, deep inside chaotic galaxies, these stars once had planetary systems of their own. They once orbited a brilliant core, but then violent gravitational clashes, deadly dances with supermassive black holes, created a colossal centrifugal slingshot. That force was so immense, it tore these stars away from the gravitational grip of their homes. They were hurled to the very edge of their galaxies, cast out into the abyss, beginning a journey with no end. Now, they drift aimlessly through the freezing ocean of space, belonging to no galaxy, bound by no orbit, and surrounding them, there is not a single speck of cosmic dust to reflect their light. They are forever solitary, flickering specks, millions of light years away from the nearest star. If you stood on a planet orbiting a rogue star, your night sky would be a perfect, flawless black. No Milky Way, no constellations, only an absolute profound silence. It might sound intensely lonely, but tonight, try to feel their ultimate freedom. These rogue stars are no longer entangled in any chaotic pools. They do not face friction. They do not face collision. They glide completely smoothly through a space of absolute tranquility. They are the magnificent proof that sometimes breaking free from all attachments brings eternal peace. Just as those stars let go of their homes, tonight, let go of the thoughts anchoring your mind. There is no destination you must rush toward, no schedule you must follow. Only a smooth, gentle drift in the dark. Gliding, softly and freely. As your mind relaxes into the vastness of the giants ahead, try turning around to look behind you. The universe does not only shape reality through the presence of matter, sometimes it rules through absence. In 2017, scientists found the final puzzle piece of our Great Migration. It turns out the Milky Way is not just being pulled by the Great Attractor or the Shapley supercluster. We are also being pushed. Right behind the Milky Way, in the exact opposite direction of the pull, lies an endless abyss. There are no brilliant star clusters, no colorful clouds of dust. It is just a pitch-black, empty void, stretching across hundreds of millions of light years. A region of nothingness called the dipole repeller. In astrophysics, matter creates gravity. So what happens in a place where there is almost nothing at all? Because this space is so desolate, its gravitational pull is so weak it practically vanishes. And when the darkness behind us no longer has the strength to hold on to anything, the pull from the front naturally becomes the absolute guiding force. That absence of gravity creates a miraculous effect. This empty void acts like an invisible hand, incredibly gentle, carefully pushing our Milky Way away from it. We are fleeing, in the quietest, most peaceful escape, from the absolute emptiness of space. Imagine floating right between these two massive forces. Ahead of you is the radiant warmth of tens of thousands of galaxies welcoming you with open arms. Behind you is the profound silence of an endless void, gently lifting your back. This perfect cosmic balance carries us deeper into the endless slumber of time. Drifting away. We have traveled a very long way. From our tiny home in the Milky Way, past the murky zone of avoidance, meeting the giant Shapley, and fleeing the empty void behind our backs. All these colossal movements, the interweaving pulls and pushes, might seem chaotic. But in the universe, nothing is truly without order. In 2014, by mapping the paths of thousands of galaxies around us, scientists discovered a breathtaking truth. All the massive structures we just passed, the Great Attractor, the brilliant Milky Way, are actually just tiny fragments of a much greater entity. We are not drifting aimlessly. We are flowing along the glowing veins of a superstructure. Astronomers gave this structure a name, rooted in the ancient Hawaiian language, Laniakea. Laniakea means immeasurable heaven. Let that name echo in your mind in the gentlest way. Spanning over 500 million light years in diameter, Laniakea holds around 100,000 galaxies. It is so vast, the human mind cannot possibly contain it. Yet, the way this superstructure works is deeply familiar and poetic. It functions exactly like a watershed on Earth. On our world, every drop of rain that falls on a mountain flows down tiny streams, gathers into great rivers, and eventually empties into the lowest valley. Laniakea operates as a gravitational watershed in the exact same way. In space, gravity is the slope. Every galaxy within the realm of Laniakea, including our Milky Way, is sliding down the invisible slopes of space, flowing along sparkling cosmic webs, heading toward the lowest basin of gravity. And do you know where that lowest point is? The place where all the rivers of light in Laniakea are flowing. It is the Great Attractor. It acts as the gravitational heart of this entire superstructure. It turns out, our journey of 600 kilometers per second is not a wandering exile. It is a journey back to our source. We are just a tiny drop of water called the Milky Way, peacefully floating on the great river of light of Laniakea. Together with hundreds of thousands of other galaxies, we are flowing toward the lowest point in our local universe, in a rhythmic dance that has lasted since the dawn of time. There is nothing to fear in that vast space, because right now you are safely embraced in the immeasurable heaven of Laniakea. Breathe slowly and let your body sink deeper into this monumental protection. Everything is exactly where it belongs. We are drifting peacefully on the rivers of light within the Laniakea network, but in the cosmos, nature always maintains an absolute, almost ruthless balance. Wherever there is a brilliant, dense gathering of matter, right next to it lies the abyss of emptiness. Lying right at the edge of our Milky Way, sharing our very own cosmic neighborhood, is a region of space so desolate it defies imagination. Astronomers call it the local void. Try to picture its scale. It stretches over 200 million light-years across. It is so unimaginably vast that tens of thousands of galaxies could easily fit inside it. But in there is almost absolutely nothing. It is a colossal desert of nothingness. The density of matter is so sparse that the laws of physics themselves seem to have fallen asleep. If our Earth had accidentally been born in the center of the local void, our night sky would be so completely dark that humanity would not have known other galaxies existed until the invention of our most advanced radio telescopes. We, our Milky Way, are standing right on the precipice of that monumental wasteland. From within the local void, no sound echoes, no pulses, no heat. It quietly expands. It quietly exists. The complete absence of matter in this region has turned it into an invisible wall, constantly using its own emptiness to gently push the Milky Way, sliding deeper into the warm currents of Laniakea. Do not fear that silent edge. Tonight, think of it as an absolute protective boundary, a grand cosmic soundproofing, shielding our home from the chaos beyond. Imagine you are resting by a perfectly still lake on a moonless night. Not a single ripple, not a whisper of wind. Emptiness is sometimes the softest bed for your mind to rest upon. There is nothing happening out there. Everything is entirely suspended in peace. We are rushing through Laniakea's river of light. 600 kilometers every second, or over 2 million kilometers an hour. The gravitational pull of the Great Attractor and the Shapley supercluster is dragging us at a terrifying speed. But if you take these parameters to an astrophysicist and ask, how long will it take for the Milky Way to reach the center of the Great Attractor? They would give you a paradoxical answer, and that is never. How can an object moving at 600 kilometers a second never reach its destination? The answer lies in a force that makes up 68% of the universe's total energy, called dark energy. In the late 1990s, scientists discovered a shocking truth. Our universe is not static, it is expanding. But the terrifying part is, dark energy does not exert force on matter. It stretches the very fabric of space-time itself. Remember Hubble's law. In the cosmos, for every megaparsec of distance, the expansion rate of space increases by about 70 kilometers per second. The Great Attractor lies 200 million light-years away. When we apply the equation of expansion to this colossal distance, we realize a cruel reality of physics. The massive volume of space between the Milky Way and the Great Attractor is multiplying and swelling at a speed far greater than the 600 kilometers per second we are traveling. Imagine you are sprinting on a massive treadmill, moving forward, but that treadmill is stretching and sliding backward 100 times faster than your footsteps. No matter how strong Shapley's pull is, no matter how the dipole repeller pushes us, the speed limit of moving matter can never conquer the expansion speed of space itself. Dark energy has already written an ending for this grand journey. There will be no explosive collision at the center of the Great Attractor. Our Milky Way is forever a traveler, sliding on a river of space that never stops growing. And eventually, that endless expansion will pull everything apart. But tonight, when you close your eyes, this physical paradox brings an absolute freedom. We are drifting, but we bear no pressure of ever having to arrive. Relax. Let the equations of the cosmos wash away the heavy burdens of your mind. Just drift away into a space that grows ever quieter and more peaceful. When astronomers recalculated the rushing speed of the Milky Way, they noticed a void in their equations. The mass of the Great Attractor, combined with the vastness of the distant Shapley supercluster, still could not gather enough gravitational force to pull us as fast as 600 kilometers per second. There was something colossal, sharing power with Shapley, but remaining entirely invisible to humanity. It wasn't until 2016, when scanning the zone of avoidance once more, that X-ray lenses accidentally brushed past a narrow sliver of space, where the Milky Way's dust curtain thinned out, and through that tiny crack, another gravitational monster slowly emerged. They call it the Vela supercluster. But what does the Vela supercluster look like? Imagine looking at a single galaxy, bright and spiraling. Now, multiply it tens of thousands of times and compress them all into a colossal space 800 million light years away. Vela is not a sphere. It is like a wall of light, an endless galactic continent, curving and swirling like a magnificent glowing coral reef in the midnight sea. Clusters of galaxies packed tightly together form an incredibly dense, unimaginably heavy mass. If Shapley is a king on a brilliant throne, then Vela is a second giant, standing in the darkest corner of the room. The sheer weight of the Vela continent creates a pull matching that of Shapley. These two giants join forces from two sides, casting the greatest gravitational net in our cosmic neighborhood to drag the entire Milky Way toward them. The vastness of space lies in its ability to hide a colossal continent right behind our backs for thousands of years. Let your mind sink into that monumental wall of light. The star streams of Vela are reaching out with invisible fingers, touching you right now, so slowly and so gently. Shapley, the Great Attractor, or Vela. When we speak these grand names, our minds often picture islands of light, floating lonely in the endless void. But the universe never creates in isolation. If you could step back, step far back, to see the entire cosmos surrounding us, you would not see disconnected islands. You would see a web. A colossal spider web, the greatest structure nature has ever built. Scientists call it the cosmic web. In this web, giant superclusters like Vela or Shapley act as the intersecting nodes, the dewdrops resting on the mesh where the light shines brightest. And connecting these nodes, connecting Vela to Shapley, connecting the Great Attractor to our Milky Way, are magnificent threads. These threads stretch across hundreds of millions of light years. They are not woven from silk, but from thin hydrogen gas and a mysterious substance that casts no light and cannot be touched, dark matter. It is exactly on these invisible threads that the Milky Way is slowly sliding. The 600 km/s pull is not a free fall into an abyss. It is a smooth transition following the cosmic veins. Dark matter forms an invisible railway, guiding us through the dark to flow into the densest galactic oceans. You are not drifting aimlessly. The entire solar system is gently rolling along the silk of the cosmic web with absolute precision and ultimate safety. Imagine you are a part of that softly vibrating web. Every pull, every movement is connected to all things. There is no solitude out there. Everything is breathing together as one. Let go of all your worries and let this great network cradle your sleep tonight. That magnificent cosmic web we just witnessed is woven from invisible threads, and those threads are forged from something bearing a profoundly mysterious name: dark matter. If the universe is a deep, unfathomable ocean, then the sparkling galaxies, the brilliant stars human eyes can see, are, in truth, merely the fragile, delicate white sea foam floating on the surface. The reality is, 85% of the mass in this universe is submerged deep in the darkest and quietest depths of that ocean. Dark matter is a completely invisible existence. You cannot touch it. You cannot taste, smell, or see it. It emits no light, reflects no light, and light itself passes through it, as if passing through absolute nothingness. But it is there, flooding every corner, monumental and incredibly gentle. Right in this exact moment, dark matter is entirely embracing our Milky Way. It gathers, forming a colossal spherical halo, an invisible cloak, with a mass trillions of times heavier than our sun, wrapping completely around our spinning disk of light. Without the soothing, heavy weight of that cloak, the centrifugal force from the Milky Way's dizzying spin would have torn everything apart long ago. Stars would be violently flung from their orbits. Our Earth would be ripped from the solar system, drifting forever into the endless freezing cold. It turns out, the very thing keeping us truly safe, keeping all matter from shattering into dust, is a force of the dark. The darkness of the cosmos is not a terrifying freezing void. It is a soft gravity, a firm, tight embrace from Mother Nature, an eternal protection. It fills the empty voids of space, weaves through every cloud of gas, and right now, those particles of dark matter are silently passing right through your walls, passing right through your body, without creating the slightest vibration. It demands no attention. It simply remains there, in the silence, keeping your world from falling apart. Release all tension in your mind. Let every muscle completely relax. The cloak of the night is draped over you, so heavy, so warm, and absolutely safe. Nothing can harm you. when the night has taken you into its arms. While we gaze intently toward Shapley or Vela, while we let ourselves drift along the great threads of the cosmic web, another pull, quieter, gentler, is happening right next door. As the entire Milky Way gets swept up in the macro current, right in our own local neighborhood, a destined dance began billions of years ago. At a distance of 2.5 million light years, there is a giant neighbor. With the naked eye on a clear night, you can see it, like a faint smudge of frost. Astronomers call it the Andromeda Galaxy. The Andromeda spiral is larger and holds more stars than our own Milky Way. And right now, the extreme weight of these two galaxies is creating a mutual gravitational tear. Despite the expansion of space, despite dark energy, the Milky Way and Andromeda are slowly rushing into each other's arms. The speed of this approach is 110 kilometers every second. In about 4 billion years, these two giants will truly meet. Perhaps the word collision brings to mind violence and destruction, but in the vastness of the cosmos, everything happens in a completely different way. A galaxy is actually 99% empty space. The distance between stars is unimaginably far. So, when the Milky Way and Andromeda merge, there will be no deafening explosions. There will be no stars crashing into dust. It is simply two colossal clouds of frosted fog, silently passing through one another. Gravity will gently bend their spiral arms, stretch their brilliant clouds of gas and dust, blending them into a dance of light, entirely slow and absolutely silent. These two galaxies, after a waltz lasting hundreds of millions of years, will become one, forming a new giant supergalaxy, elliptical, radiating a soft and eternally peaceful light. A grand embrace, carrying no ruin whatsoever. So tonight, as you fall asleep, remember, the universe is not just about fleeing, it also holds beautiful reunions. This reunion was pre-programmed in the dark, long before we were born, and will continue long after we turn to dust. You do not have to do a thing. Just relax and let gravity continue writing its serene melody. Two galaxies, slowly dancing, drifting closer together. Everything is completely at peace. Throughout our journey, we have spoken a lot about pulling forces. The pull from the Great Attractor, the pull from the Shapley supercluster or Vela, invisible monsters reaching out to grab the Milky Way. But tonight, as your mind finds stillness, banish the image of those violent ropes. Because in the deepest picture of cosmology, gravity is not a pulling force at all. In 1915, a brilliant mind named Albert Einstein saw through a beautiful truth. He realized that space and time are not an empty, silent stage. They are a seamless woven fabric, a colossal mattress, soft and capable of bending. Imagine the mattress you are lying on right now. When you lay your back down, the weight of your body makes the mattress sink, creating a soft depression. Any small object nearby will automatically roll toward you, not because you are pulling it, but because it is sliding down the slope of the mattress. the universe operates in exactly the same serene manner. The Great Attractor or the giant Shapley supercluster are, in truth, just objects with too much mass. Their presence creates massive dents in the mattress of space-time, deep sinkholes that bend even the straightest paths of light. Our Milky Way is not being grabbed or coerced by anyone. We are simply sliding, gliding smoothly down the invisible slope of the cosmos. That slide is so smooth that we feel absolutely no turbulence. The speed of 600 kilometers a second turns out to be a free fall into the vast embrace of space-time. And right now, your own body is bending the space around you, even if just a little. You are also a tiny center of gravity, blending into the grand mattress of reality. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of your body sinking deep into the mattress. Let the exhaustion, the worries of a long day slide off your mind, falling into the quietest hollows. You no longer need to struggle for balance. The universe has already prepared the softest slope to catch you. Just let go and slide away into a long dream. So soft, so deep. Our cosmic journey tonight has reached the absolute limits of silence. From a tiny blue planet, we have cast our gaze through the murky veil of the zone of avoidance to witness the greatest forces weaving our destiny. You have met the Great Attractor. You have bowed before the throne of the Shapley supercluster and the hidden continent of light and Vela. You have also felt the gentle push from the void of the dipole repeller. 600 kilometers per second, an unimaginable speed, yet fully protected by the grand threads of the cosmic web and the soft mattress of space-time. And above all, dark energy has freed us from all the pressures of a destination. We do not have to go anywhere at all. That entire brilliant Milky Way, all those twinkling stars out there, are, in truth, simply drifting together in a long, endless dream of the cosmos. Let your mind become one with that aimless drift. Just like how the Milky Way slowly sinks into the arms of Andromeda, let yourself sink deep into sleep. All the sounds of the waking world have now retreated behind you, very far away. Only you remain, and the peaceful darkness of the immeasurable heaven, Laniakea. You are being embraced. You are safe in the arms of gravity. With every breath out, you drift a little further from your worries. Beat by beat, breath by breath. Sleep is catching you on the softest slope of time. Thank you for joining Slumbering Myths on tonight's journey. Just drift away so peacefully. Good night.